Welcome to Cougars on Cougars. This is episode 7. We're happy to be here, and we find ourselves with another split. Last week at conference play, we come out with one great win and one disappointing loss.
Yeah.
How was that, Jess?
It was still a good night in the Marriott Center. It was packed, most we've had all season. Yeah. There's tons of energy, and we gave ourselves a chance at the end, several chances. Yeah. So overall, it was definitely disappointing for sure.
But maybe not as disappointing as losing to Pacific or Portland. I mean.
Right, and I think it helps that the tournament's this weekend.
Around the corner.
So it's like we have a chance to move on really quick and even hopefully get another shot at Gonzaga.
Yes, hopefully. And speaking of that, Kyle Collinsworth had some words to say about the Gonzaga loss, and they're pretty comforting.
Yeah, this was right after the loss during their press conference. He said, "It makes us more hungry when we play them again, them being Gonzaga. We're going to be more hungry. At this point, we have nothing to lose." So I think they know, and even before that maybe knew that they had to win 3 in Vegas to get to the NCAA tournament, and that's still their goal. Yeah. So I think they'll make it happen.
Yeah. Well, thanks to Kyle for that quote. So we want to go right into our haiku contest, which was a lot of fun. And we purposely weren't sharing them on Twitter because we didn't want people stealing each other's ideas. But now that we're going to announce the winners, we will be sharing those all week. And we got some really good ones. But we picked a first place, a second place, and an honorable mention. And first place goes to, drum roll please, Brigham Beckstead. Second place goes to Bradford Huntsman. And honorable mention goes to David Fiso. So, Jess, what was Brigham's haiku?
Brigham's was about our one and only Kyle Collinsworth.
And that's who he's getting the picture of.
He says, "Triple double king, you know he only eats clean. Hair always on point."
Always.
So true.
Succinct. We love it. Second place was Bradford, and his was about Nate Austin.
Oh, gosh.
We can't read this without laughing. Rexosaurus Rex is older than most coaches. Senior citizen.
It still makes me laugh. That's hilarious.
Sorry, Nate. Good job, Bradford. We love Nate. It's all in good fun.
It really is. Honorable mention, of course, goes to David Fiso. And this was his 3 seniors there be, leaders, warriors, captains, on to victory.
We like that. More of a serious note, and we are hoping that they lead us on to victory this weekend in Vegas.
Yes,
so thank you for participating, guys. That was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
We'll have another one soon.
Time for the talk of the town.
Yes.
And big leading headline news this week is that Tanner Mangum and Alexa Gray are engaged.
They sealed the deal.
Congratulations to them.
There's a ring.
He did it on the field at LaBelle Edwards Stadium.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. In the picture, we thought it was like the practice field or something. They got to get that grass a little greener. Maybe it's just because it's dark.
Many good things have happened on this field, but none as special as asking this girl to marry me. Oh. Pretty sure that's got to be LaBelle Edwards Stadium.
No, he's there. The grass just looks weird in the picture. Anyway, we'll put it up. Speaking of engaged couples, Sione Takitaki, who is a linebacker on the football team, also got engaged. So congratulations to both of them.
It is wedding season coming up, so I'm expecting a few more of these. Yes. And we know a bunch of the guys on the basketball team are engaged, so hopefully soon we'll have actual wedding photos.
But not all of the guys are engaged, which leads us to our next photo, which is of Zach Celius, who, like we said, has a pending matrimony with the Lord. And he now knows where he is going on his mission, and that is to Des Moines, Iowa. The only thing I think of when I think of Iowa is Field of Dreams. Is this heaven?
Corn?
No. It's Iowa. So, congrats to Zach, and we'll
May 18th.
Picture. Yep, May 18th.
Which apparently is the same day that Kyle Collinsworth went to the MTC 5 years ago. Thanks to Robbie for that.
Big things popping.
Yep. So, other news, this was actually a couple weeks ago, but we just forgot to mention it, was that Kyle Davis and his wife Kelly announced they're having a boy. So that's
little
exciting. Basketball
player. Hopefully he gets those tall jeans.
Boys are the most fun, I think. I haven't had a girl yet, so I don't know. But
yeah, come on.
Boys are pretty fun.
Okay, another thing we want to mention, Chase's girlfriend, his wife, who is actually his girlfriend, posted on Instagram a real cute picture of him taking a shot, and it says just 1,000 on the caption because Chase hit the 1,000 point mark this week in the Gonzaga game is when he did it. In 2 seasons at BYU. So congratulations to Chase.
Yeah, that was quick. I think Greg Wrubell said there's only 7 other players that have gotten there that fast in 2 seasons. So
yeah, and the last thing we'll tell you about is on Monday, Jess got to meet a special someone whom we are an admirer of, if you will, and her son Ajax admires him too. So who'd you meet? Who'd you meet? We already know.
So Chase was the guest on Coach Rose's radio show this week, and Ajax's favorite players this year are Kyle number 5 and Chase number 1 is how he refers to them. So it's fun every time we watch. We're both like, yeah, Fisher. So it's fun. So we went to go meet him and got to take a picture with them after the show.
Yeah, and we'll put that up. So and Chase was really nice about it. Just said nice. And super cute to Ajax. So
yeah, he's great.
And also speaking of the Rose show, he did that rapid fire question thing with Chase where he asked him 10 questions, and Jess and I both submitted questions and he answered both of them. Jess could only hear so much because she was a little further away, but I asked what he wanted to name his gym because he wants to start a gym after basketball, and he apparently said he wants to name it after himself.
Yeah, I can't remember what he said exactly.
Did he have a name in mind?
Yeah, but it was something like Chase Fisher's something gym. I can't remember the name. I'll have to find it for you.
But Chase Fisher definitely in there. We'll pull that up, or you can listen to the audio from the Rose show. And then what was your question?
I asked him what his favorite spots in Provo are and whether he'll be coming back to visit. And he said he wasn't sure if we were talking about eating or what, but he said he likes La Jolla Groves to eat.
Classy.
He also really likes Pizzeria 712 because I guess he lives over it.
He does.
Yeah. So, and then he said Marriott Center is one of his favorites.
And he'll be back?
And he will be back. Okay. Yeah. He said something about rooming with Anson Winder and that he'll be around summer. And Provo has a special place in his heart. So hopefully we'll see him around.
Okay. Let's do coaching from the couch. Coach Tyler, Coach Blanchard. We're going to start with Portland, which was traditionally Thursday. We played great.
It was really fun.
It was so fun.
There was some nifty passing going on that game.
Passing, and that's the first thing we wanted to say for what went right. 30 assists on 36 baskets.
That's so many.
Holy cow. That's almost all of them.
Yeah, and that means we were making a lot of shots.
Yeah, and a lot of threes.
A lot.
Because we had 99 points. So, anyway, assists, awesome. They were having fun passing again. Really fun to watch. What else went right? Coach Tyler.
Bench points. We had 29 bench points in that game. So some of our starting players got a little bit of rest. We got some more guys in there to get us some more points, get some more confidence. Yeah,
so 29 bench points and 6 players in double digits. So that is some nice shared scoring. That means someone other than your starting 5 are contributing.
And top it all off with another triple-double from Kyle Collinsworth.
We would talk about that some more, but there's no words. How do you do what he does?
I honestly don't know. It's mind-blowing.
We won't dwell on what went wrong because there are very few things to mention. Portland shot 42% from 3, which is a pretty solid 3-point shooting.
We could definitely do some better closing out on those threes. I mean, they had one guy, Jazz Johnson, come on off the bench and hit 4. He was 100% 3-point shooting for the game. So that's always frustrating when you have a bench guy come off and do that.
Yeah.
I feel like that happens to us a lot.
So perimeter D when can that not improve? So, okay, let's move on to Gonzaga. It was tough.
I will say, though, I love playing Gonzaga.
There's nothing like it.
It's such a good matchup. The teams are always so into it. They play so hard. Yeah. So it's fun to watch, even on a night like that where we cannot make a basket.
Yeah, and we already referenced the atmosphere. We're going to qualify that as a what went right. It was awesome. The Rock was literally at capacity. I was watching on TV because I was at work. There were some times, especially when Kyle was sitting, where I was kind of like, oh, I wish you'd be a little bit louder because I know you're there. Yeah. But they showed up for the seniors, and they were really loud during the senior tribute.
They said it was the longest line they've ever had.
Hundreds of tents. So
and it was like the Jimmer days again.
What else went right?
Oh.
We talked about Chase getting 1,000 points, and Kyle got a really cool stat, too.
Yeah, Kyle had 15 rebounds in that game, which meant that he is now the only player ever in the NCAA to have 1,500 points, 1,000 rebounds, and 500 assists. So he created a brand new category for himself.
King Collinsworth just getting another record for himself. Other thing that went right that we wanted to mention, we won in most of the stat categories. So that's good.
All, except for the really important one of shooting.
Yes, we just needed one more shot, but we did a lot elsewhere on the floor. We just need that shooting percentage to be a little bit higher. So we'll move on to what went wrong, where there might be a little more to talk about.
There's definitely some things we could mention. But the first of all for me is Kyle getting that phantom foul in the first 15 seconds.
Come to refer to it as the phantom foul.
I mean, Kyle Witcher falls over and it looks bad, and so Kyle gets whistled for the foul.
In what, 20 seconds? That wasn't even 20 seconds.
It was right into the game. So, of course, as soon as Kyle gets a second foul, he's going to the bench. Of course. And unfortunately, that was about 8:45 to go in the first half.
And that's when we lost the lead, and we did not get it back.
Yeah, we had great momentum right before Kyle went to the bench. I think we had a 6-point lead at that point, and then he had to go sit. And
never got
during
back.
that time, it switched. We lost our lead and got down by about 6, and then we're fighting back the rest of the time.
Another thing is we had 15 bench points, which is all right. They all came from Zach and Nate, but we were missing points from Jordan Chapman, who looked like he was really starting to come into his own. Turns out he did have the flu, which apparently Chase had last week, so we're really hoping our guys are healthy heading into this weekend, but 0 points from Jordan Chapman did not help, especially with the rough shooting night.
And he's usually one of our best defenders, too, and that kind of hurt us a little bit. But.
Yeah. Speaking of the rough shooting night for Nick, 4 for 16, it's 25%. It's not...
missed some big shots at the end that, darn it, I wish they'd gone in.
Yeah, and they could have, and it comes down to more than that. His shot selection was just a little... I mean, shooters got to shoot, but Chase is having a good night. Maybe take a few extra passes. It just...
Yeah, I would have liked just the fact that he's a senior to have him get one of those shots at the end.
Yeah.
But you just take what's
given.
Yes,
exactly. So. You can't pick, and Chase was on the other side of the court, so...
We could talk about the inbounds pass to Kyle too, and the nice bear
the bear
hug
hug.
He got.
We won't talk about that because.
But I mean,
I will
that's
say bad
tough
words.
too. I mean, Kyle usually inbounds those, but I thought that was actually a nice game plan to have Kyle in there and just go up shot in the basket and get fouled, which it worked except for the foul call part.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll get him next time. We've got nothing to lose, so bring him on.
Yeah. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about football. So spring camp starts
Tuesday.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
I guess that's today when this video is uploading.
Sorry.
And then the spring scrimmage is a few weeks away on the 26th of March. But we don't have Taysom Hill participating.
Taysom.
Even though he's back, he's still got some work to do. So we wanted to actually look into his injury a little bit more and, more importantly, the recovery process. So we brought in a doctor.
Here's our professional.
We are so excited to have Ben Buchanan join us. He's joining us from the DC area. He is currently practicing family medicine. He's really interested in sports medicine and is doing a fellowship in sports medicine next year. He went to medical school at Texas Tech and is just a lifelong Cougar fan. So we thought that with the Taysom news breaking that he's coming back, which is exciting in itself, we wanted to go further than that because yes, he's coming back, but he's recovering from a pretty hefty injury, which we wanted to get some details about. So Jess, what's our first question we have for Ben?
So tell us, what is Taysom's injury, first of all, remind us, and then what does it mean?
All right, so it's kind of a broad topic because people call it a Lisfranc sprain, they call it a Lisfranc fracture, dislocation, whatever. They're all variations of the same thing. So I don't know if you have that picture, which...
yeah, we'll put it up.
But in essence, it is a rotation of the long bones within the foot. They're called the metatarsals with the tarsals. And so sometimes when you call it like a dislocation or a sprain, they're just shifted basically. But I don't know if I say most cases, a lot of cases they shift pretty significantly where it causes a fracture. So his may be that or some combination of that.
Okay, so some variation of that. So that leads us to our next question. What is the recovery time frame? Because let's see, he got this injury in September, right? So September of 2015. So what is the recovery timeline for an injury like this? And maybe delve into a little bit of what the recovery process might be like for him.
Yeah, sure. So typically, I'm going to ballpark and say the whole recovery time, return to play, like full complete recovery is usually around 11 months.
Jeez.
Basically, I say that based on, like they did this recent study with a bunch of NFL athletes in 2015, and the average time for them was about 11 months.
Oh my gosh.
So to give you an idea of why it takes that long, so typically it can be managed operatively or non-operatively. Most of the time when you're dealing with like an elite athlete and you want to get them back to the field quicker, you just go straight to surgery. But you don't always have to, but if his is severe enough, then sometimes you always have to go to surgery, which they may have opted that to speed up the process, or it may have been severe enough that he needed surgery no matter what.
So with the surgery, I mean, does that shorten it any amount of months, or are we still pretty much looking at around 11 months?
No, you're still probably looking at 11 months.
So 11 months from September is August.
So I will say, though, that that's the median average. So there are athletes that come back after 9 months. And if we're going to, be like, drinking the the blue Kool-Aid and all that good stuff, we're going to say 9 months,
Sure. What are the odds that we can expect him to recover 100%? And so do you think that's going to happen? And what capacity do you think we should use him in if it does? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So I know there can be some room for disagreement, and physicians will probably disagree to some amount anyway, but complete honest opinion, like medical opinion, that he'll probably be back 100%. Because when people come back from like LCL injuries and all these other injuries, like within their legs, it's usually 100%. Like most of the time, the limitations are within the athlete themselves because of just like psychological, hey, I'm scared to plant, I'm scared to do this or that, but their ligament, their bone is strong as it's ever been. It's the same thing with like the Lisfranc fracture. So that study that I kind of quoted to you earlier, basically found that the NFL athletes that return, I think it was like 95% of them returned complete 100% to their previous abilities without any decline.
So you think he could potentially play quarterback and just be as good as he's ever been?
Yeah, 100%. And that's what I think. Obviously, there are complicating cases, but most of the time with Lisfranc injuries, you see the complications a lot sooner. So if he's already up, walking around, doing some light training, jogging, he's probably outside that window of severe complications.
So do you think that injury will have any bearing on him getting injured again in the future, or do you think it'll just...
Always a concern with Taysom. Always a concern.
No, I honestly don't. I really feel like, as crazy as this is, these 3 freak accidents are completely random. They aren't related at all, other than the fact that, he may think about it quite a bit, but I don't think his foot's going to cause him any problems. I don't think his other foot's going to cause him any problems. The only thing that may cause him just to have like a predisposition to injury is because he's a running quarterback, and he's not going to be able to stay in the pocket, and he may get injured again, but I don't think it has anything to do with his underlying previous injuries. As long as like all the muscles and everything else that is supporting those ligaments, those joints are working properly, then yeah, sure, 100%. If he doesn't go through like a regular person like myself, I don't go through some crazy rehab program. Sure, I might have some chronic pain, but in terms of like limitation on the football field, I don't think so.
And hopefully with, Ty Detmer in there with our new scheme, we can turn him into more of a pocket passer.
Maybe.
I bet we can.
I'm sure he's going to run a little bit, but...
Yeah. So medical opinions aside, we know that Ben is a huge Taysom fan and would love to see him back on the field. I know I speak for all of us when I say that we wish Taysom the best, and we hope that we're able to see him back at 100%.
Hopefully
in
by
the first game.
Camp.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sure hope so.
Would be great.
Thanks for joining us, Ben.
Thanks.
Okay, Ben also mentioned to us some specifics about the recovery process and the timeline. So after you get the surgery, you're in a non-weight bearing, no weight bearing for 6 weeks. That's when Taysom was on his little scooter during football season. That's 6 to 8 weeks. If that goes well, then you get a little cast and you're in that for another 6 weeks. Mm-hmm. And then when you get to 6 months, the screws and wires that they likely put in Taysom's foot, obviously we don't know for sure, get taken out. And then once they take out those screws and wires after the 6 month mark, then you can start training. And like we had mentioned, he's doing some light training. So it seems like everything is going well in the process. Like Ben mentioned, if something goes wrong, it tends to go wrong towards the beginning of the process. So it looks like we're in good shape. So it's just a matter of transitioning from the light training to the normal training. So thanks to Ben for coming on again for that. And we'll move on to basketball. Back to basketball now. Okay, like we said, we're moving back into basketball. It's time for some tourney talk because Selection Sunday is upon us. Mr. Joe Lunardi, our friend, the bracketology expert, has St. Mary's College. Yeah, not friend this year. He has St. Mary's in. I think they're in 11 seed. Yep. He has Gonzaga as the first out, like literally the first team out of the tournament. So that they stayed the same after beating us because that's where they were last week. We were in the next 4 out. Now we are nowhere to be seen, which is to be expected. So auto bid is our only chance. So it is Vegas or bust. Just for reference, St. Mary's is the 1 seed. Gonzaga is the 2 seed. We're the 3 seed. St. Mary's and Gonzaga are co-champs of the conference, but St. Mary's gets that 1 seed because obviously they swept Gonzaga, which is a thing we couldn't do. So
Darn it.
anyway.
So coming up, tournament starts this Saturday in Vegas for the men. So they play at 2 p.m. Mountain Time in Las Vegas. If you're going to be there, I'll be there too. So let's hang out.
Yes.
And then hopefully we win that game against Santa Clara, and then we'd play again Monday night at either 7 p.m. Mountain or 9:30 p.m. Mountain.
Yeah, and that will be against the winner of Gonzaga and Portland, assuming we beat Santa Clara. We are 11-0 against Santa Clara all time, but we have lost to worse teams than Santa Clara this season.
Last year, we beat them both times by 20+, and then we won in the last second shot by Tyler Haws in that tournament game. So
they show up in the tournament,
and they've got Jared Brownridge,
overlooked.
So he's a good player. So it should be a good game, but we should take care of business.
Yes,
hopefully.
So we'll show you a picture of the bracket real quick, just so you know what you're looking for. And then, if you are in Vegas, Jess is going to be there. She's going to be doing a really fun interview with Pat Hammond, who is Crazy Cougs fanatic. So look for that next week. And my husband, Jordan, will be co-hosting with me in Jess's absence. But she'll be here via Skype for coaching from the couch, and it'll be a great show. So tune in next week, and that will bring us to our sponsors.
Yep. Sponsors this week are brought to you by Darth Jamal, coming soon to a backfield near you.
And to the Smash. We want to give a shout out to Bronson Kafusi, our lone player in the NFL Combine. He really showed up and did a great job.
Good job, Bronson.
So may you always stay loyal to the white and blue. For Jess, I'm Mary. We'll see you next week.